Codega is a guide and a storyteller, escorting you through the night, lighting the way, warding off thieves, ghosts, demons, and other oddities. Along the journey, his companions would often share with him the most curious of stories that he'd record in his Codex. Perhaps you just might find yourself traveling with a Codega and sharing one of yours. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another live. You know, this has been awfully strange to me to have a couple lives in a row almost. We had one last Thursday with Brad. We were talking about Peru, and then this Thursday I got Dano coming back from the Cryptid Podcast, and he is going to go into some more of his experiences. You know, when he was on the show, we talked about ghosts, paranormal, Hatman, and UFOs as well. But he never got into his Bigfoot experiences or many of his other experiences. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Before we, as I kick my camera, let me rearrange that. Before we jump into bringing Dano on, I just want to say shout out to everybody who is in the chat. You know, I really appreciate it. So Cryptical Crossroads, Carol, Mouse, who else? So we got BJ, of course, as well. So thank you for being there for the start, and anybody else who shows up. Good to see you. And of course, Dano is writing. The Cryptid Podcast is in the chat as well. So let's get right into it and bring Dano to the stage. Dano, welcome back to Codega's Codex of Curiosities.
All right, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Like I said, I'm not the biggest live. I don't do many lives, but when I usually do my recordings Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if I don't have anything lined up, then usually I'll jump into a live. And so last Thursday, I didn't have anything. This Thursday, like today, I did not have anything lined up. And so that's why I reached out to you, and you were kind enough to rearrange your schedule and were able to jump on. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem, man. It's a pleasure to be back on. I really enjoy your show. I don't normally watch episodes that I'm on, so
I completely understand. I'm the same way. It's like I don't need to see myself. That is fine. Here's a question. So now that you host a show, like before I hosted my show, I used to take in a lot of content, but I find now when I'm hosting, it's less time to actually take in content. It's not that I'm like avoiding. It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I have less time to actually keep up with the shows that I normally do. Are you finding the same thing?
Yeah. That is really hard to manage. I don't, and it's not that people send me links to YouTube things or Instagram things or TikTok things, and I watch them, but then I forget to reply back. And so if anybody who sent me things, you guys, honestly, I see them. I'm sorry, I don't reply back. Or people email me a lot of stuff, and like my email box, I hate having a messy email box. So I'm constantly making folders, and yeah, I get anxiety when I look at my email box because I get so many things, so many pictures, and things like that. Again, you guys, I'm not trying to come across like I'm Mr. Famous and Mr. Popular. It's just I have a really great core group of friends, and well, anybody who's a subscriber, anybody who's a follower, anybody who's a member of my channel, they're my friends. I look at it that way.
I agree.
I get a lot of people send me some crazy stuff that I think, oh, I've seen this before, or wait a minute, let me give that a second look. And then I start sharing that out to some other people. Like, what do you guys think on this? Or I'll post it on my community page on YouTube, or on my Facebook page, for the podcast, and say, hey, you know, what are you guys' thoughts on this? So, but yeah, I find it I feel like I don't have a lot of time because I'm finally trying to schedule guests to come on, trying to work around my 9 to 5 and my family time. You know, so I definitely, I hold my family time very, very sacred. I don't want to be interrupted during my family time. So if somebody's giving me a call and I don't answer, or I just chuck it straight to voicemail, it's nothing personal. It's just that, that's the time I'm hanging out with my wife, or if my grandsons are over. Sundays I don't do anything on. I think
Yeah.
I've done a podcast, maybe two in the year that I've done this on a Sunday. Normally that's my day where, uh, you know, if we feel like going to church, we'll go to church. If not, then, we go over to my in-laws' house and we spend pretty much the whole day there, enjoying each other's company, playing games, watching shows, eating lunch, watching football. And then I come home and then that's it. Then go to bed and get up,
Yeah, man.
start the week over.
Yeah, it's 3 jobs. Like, I can relate totally. We have 3 jobs, it's the podcaster hosting a show, there's the family man, and then there's our 9 to 5, job, and it gets busy, and then, of course, there's other things we're doing in there well, like, I also take care of, I have bees as well that I'm a
Mhm.
amateur beekeeper, so I have that, and it's just lots of stuff, so, yeah, I think I've been shying away more and more from social media of like posting things and trying to interact in it. And I don't mean no disrespect. It's just it gets overwhelming. It really, really does. And it happens. So
Yeah,
before sorry, go ahead.
no, you're right. It does. It gets really overwhelming with social media, and I've let my Instagram kind of fall to the wayside, my TikTok kind of fall to the wayside, and
Yeah.
the reason my TikTok fell to the wayside is I have two Cryptid Podcast TikTok channels,
Okay.
and they're named the same thing, except for one I cannot access via my phone any longer. I have to get on my desktop and do it,
Ugh,
which is really harsh because on that one I have a video that has over 185,000 views on it that
nice.
someone had sent me, but I can't do anything with it. And then so I said, okay, well, let's create a new one that I have access to on my phone because that's, a lot of us have access to our phone more than anything.
Yeah.
And so I posted this exact same video, and it doesn't even have 700 views on it.
Yeah, it's so strange, trying to break into that algorithm. Like, what are you going to post that's going to do it?
Yeah.
Is there something? But yeah, I agree. I started my TikTok completely at something else, and I hit it. I it hit off pretty good, and it wasn't to do with Codega's Codex. It was had to do with psychics. Actually, I
Hmm.
created a channel all about psychics, and it did extremely well. I had a couple of videos go viral, and so I'm sitting around. I got maybe like 22,000 subs on it, and a couple of videos that are in the millions. Like I made a well, I changed it over to my channel now to Codex Curiosities, and then I made a spoof video of Katy Perry in space, and that went viral as well. But it was strange. I posted it on so TikTok. It got 6.5 million views. I put it on Instagram. It got around close to 200,000, and then I did it on YouTube, and YouTube is like 4,000 views.
Yeah.
It's crazy what hits and what doesn't. It sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And all in all, though, TikTok doesn't really drive. I find that it doesn't drive any traffic to Spotify or to YouTube as well. So it's kind of when I feel like it, I post something on TikTok, but it's not
It's
really.
it's its own monster, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah,
But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I look at TikTok every now and again and I chuckle, you know.
yeah.
But it's a fun thing to do. But
Yeah, I agree. There's some things that the algorithm knows. Like I like watching like videos about World War II where they're talking about World War II, stuff like that.
mhm.
And I'm like, ah, yeah, let's get into this. And of course, other conspiracies. I'm into conspiracies big time, and so I like watching those kinds of things. But all that aside, so Nano, you said you are on Instagram, you are on TikTok. Where else can everybody find you?
Well, where I'm active is
Mhm.
on Spotify, YouTube, and then my Facebook group. I get in there and I'll post, hey guys, got a new episode up. Uh
Yeah,
Welcome people into the group. I think we only have like about, I think, 610. Uh and just recently,
yeah,
probably in the last 5 or 6 months, that's when I really started trying to get people onto that and let them know where they can find me. So it's okay to do that. I have a lot of active people on there that that really post a lot of stuff on there. So it's always it's an active group. It doesn't sit stagnant.
And that is great. Like I find sometimes my group will get a lot of like, and I'm guilty of this episode dropping, episode
Mhm.
spamming. It's like, yeah, throw it here, and it's just like, and don't interact. So I try not to do that with the groups that I actually share my shows with. I maybe I share it with a handful of groups, maybe five groups. I'll share the show coming on, including my own group.
Yep.
But yeah, I like to keep it active. I don't want it to be jam packed, like log jammed full of
Yeah.
other episodes. I want interaction. That's what I want.
Well, I
Yeah.
think you've shared a couple things on my page,
Yeah.
and that's fine. I don't mind at all. And I know I've shared a couple on yours as well. Like I think I
Yep.
just
Which
shared
is
my
never.
Saturday live. So anybody who's watching right now, this Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, it's going to be episode 2 of my series called this. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys.
It's called
Fifth,
Oh My Gosh. That's
no,
that's a good one.
it's called 50 States of Fear. And this is
Cool.
episode 2, and we're going to be talking about Alaska. And I have a very, very special guest coming on. There's going to be like my guest co-host. It's Fred Rolls from
Oh yeah.
subarctic Alaska Sasquatch, and he's going to get into hopefully a couple of his encounters that he's had with the Alaska hairy man, the Kushtaka, and then some other stories that he's had. I'm constantly looking for stuff that's happened up in Alaska. I'll probably drop my dad. I'll tell my dad's couple of his
Dogman
encounters.
story there. Yeah.
Yep, and then my grandfather's what they believe was a Sasquatch encounter. He was a logger back in the day, and I'll discuss that as well. So,
Cool.
but yeah, so it's I got involved in this podcast after having a very strong up and coming paranormal podcast called the Paranormal Narrative. And then I got some very dark, unwanted attention via email from a couple of people that wanted to push a certain type of narrative of things I didn't want to cover in the paranormal world. So I just deleted the channel, deleted everything, and then started the Cryptid Podcast, which has always been,
Your
one of
passion.
my, yeah,
Yeah.
I had a sighting when I was 12 years old. Um, Told that sighting, well, not the entire sighting, just one part of the sighting, to Wes Germer on Sasquatch Chronicles, and I didn't divulge the entire encounter because I didn't know how it was going to be received. Uh,
Okay.
I was worried about people ridiculing me and just accusing me of things.
Mm.
Um, you know, when I've already faced all that from people who I'm supposed to trust, like family members and very close
Yeah.
friends, I was very, very hesitant and reluctant on bringing it out to the public. But talking to Wes, he just made everything so comfortable to talk to him about, and I guess it was pretty well received. I didn't go back and watch it or listen to it. I did go look in the comments a little bit and answered a couple questions, and it seemed to be very, very positive. And then was on a couple other shows before I was on Josh Smith's show, Mysteries Unknown, and I was on his show like 4 or 5 times. And then he asked me to be a co-host, and then from there it just went into um, being a host of the Cryptid Podcast. We are now 1 year, 18, 19, 20, 22, 3, 1 year and 5 days old. So
Well, happy birthday
yeah,
to the Cryptid Podcast. That's pretty much.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I honestly, I didn't think it was going to be.
That is amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. That's a long that my internet is a little bit lagging there. So hopefully I
Mhm.
didn't cut out everyone, but that's a great journey. That is awesome. So would you be willing to divulge your first experience with Sasquatch there when you were 12? Can you tell us about that one?
Well, after after talking with Wes, I realized that my sighting in 1984 was not my first encounter. I had encounters prior to that. My first encounter actually was back when I was like around 7, so like 1978, 1979. Um, um, my dad wanted to introduce me to hunting. And so we went to my uncle's house who lived in
Okay.
Aberdeen, and we weren't going to go hunting. Now, this is like partially summer, I want to say. I think it was in the summertime. And
Mhm.
my dad was raised in Alaska, so was my uncle. Whenever they went out in the woods, they always carried a firearm with them for protection more than anything. So my dad and my uncle and I, we decided we're going to go camping this little area, a little north, almost not little, but north of Aberdeen, Washington. They call it the hunting camp. Um, we hiked into this area. We set up a tent, and you know, first night very uneventful. Went to bed, got up early. Um, my dad had taken me the first day up to the deer stand to kind of show me and explain to me, this is why we put it. This is why we put the deer stand here. You have two intersecting game trails that intersect about 20 to 25 feet in front of the deer stand. This is why we did it, and all these things. So, the next morning we get up. Now I've hunted since then. You want to be in the deer stand, um, you know, well before it's time to hunt. So time you want to get out there when it's dark, get settled in, and then as soon
Yeah.
as the sun starts rising and it's time to start hunting, when it's legally for you to where you can shoot, you're there ready to go. But we had gone out there later than that. The sun was coming up, but it was like that pre-dawn where you can just barely see the sun coming up. So you could still see things. You just couldn't really make out real colors, but you could definitely get shapes. You couldn't get definition or you know, um, too much detail. So we get up to the deer stand. I
Yeah.
climb up in the deer stand. I sit in the left hand side. My dad comes up. He's sitting down on the right hand side, and he's looking, fumbling around with his knapsack. He's looking in. He says, "I forgot something. I can't remember what he said he forgot, but he told me you're going to be okay. There's nothing out here that's going to hurt you. So, um, I'm gonna get out of the deer stand and I'm gonna run back to camp." Now, camp was about half a mile to maybe 3/4 of a mile away, and he goes, "I'm gonna run to camp,
Okay.
get
Not
what
too
I
far.
need. Yeah, I'm gonna come right back." And I believe my dad. 7 years old. I'm sitting up in a deer stand all by myself. I'm about 10 to 15 feet up in the air, and I see my dad climb down. I see him slowly walking off, and then he starts running down the trail. No big deal. Well, behind us, it was like kind of an open little field area. Over to the right, I mean, to the left, it was kind of open, but then it came into some bigger brush and then into trees. Over to the right, it was pretty clear, except for an area there was like some brush and then some bigger trees over in that area. But then right in front of us, down a hill, down like a little drop off, there was a stream, and it was a pretty nice sized stream. Most of it, if you went across the stream, is maybe thigh to maybe waist deep, and so, good
Okay.
stream to fish in. And so I'm sitting up in
Yeah.
this deer stand by myself, and I'm looking around, and it's getting a little bit lighter. And again, looking around, and then the hypnotic sound of the stream started putting me into a I'm getting tired. I started
Okay.
relaxing, and I crossed my arms, and I kind of put my head down like this. And that feeling like you catch yourself falling asleep and you kind of jerk real quick.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. The twitching. Like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that happens, my leg kicks out and I'm like, "Oh." And so I'm kind of like looking around, and whatever reason, I look down and I notice that my left boot is untied. And I'm thinking, you know, "Oh, I must have got it caught on the deer stand, you know, and untied my boot. No big deal. So I tie my boot up again, and I'm sitting there, and again, the stream starts working its magic, and I slowly start nodding off, and then I jerk again. And whatever was the first thing I did is look down, and my boot was untied again. And
And you tied it up.
yep, I tied it up. And
Okay.
and now this wasn't like seconds, between. This was like 10, 15 minutes between.
Okay.
So the sun's starting to come up. And I just go, "Dad, that's not funny." You know?
Yeah.
And so now I'm laser focused on my boot. Sun's coming up. I'm seeing colors now. I'm seeing detail. I'm seeing definition. And I'm looking at my boot like this, just looking down at it. I must have been looking at there 5, maybe 10 minutes. And then this gigantic snap, crack, whatever just happened right to my right hand side. And I snap my head over and I look. And when I do, and it's got my attention over here, my foot jerks again. And I look down and my boot's untied. And I stand up and I just start screaming,
Wow.
"Dad, this isn't funny. I want to go home. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm never going to hunt." And I'm just like, "It's not funny. You're scaring me." Blah, I'm losing my 7-year-old mind, right?
Of
I'm probably,
course.
I'm probably saying this is stupid and this is dumb. And to me, those were bad words back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And I look over and I see my dad's head coming up over this little hill on the trail. And he's running. He's like hauling butt. And he's like, "Shut up. Shut it. You're not, if you want to see a deer, you're not going to see one because you're up here screaming like a banshee." And I'm like, "You're up here untying my boot. You're trying to scare me. I don't want to do this." He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." He's like, "Buddy, calm down." I'm like, "No, you're not funny. I don't want to. I'm done. I want to go home. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home." And he's like, "Listen, son, calm down. What happened?" And so I told him. And he's like, "Well, where?" And I pointed where I heard the noise. And he's like, "Okay." He goes, "Stay in the tree. I'm gonna look around. You'll be fine. I'm gonna look around." My dad walks behind the deer stand, and I'm standing up and I'm hugging the tree and I'm kind of looking around the side of it so I can see my dad. What is he doing? And he kind of looks around and he kind of bends down and he touched something on the ground. No clue what he's touching. I couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
And he's walking up into this little clearing area that's behind the deer stand. And I'm watching, and he takes his rifle, and it was a lever action 30-30 rifle. And he took it off his shoulder and he started walking towards the tree line, and he stopped. And he brought it up to his shoulder. Now he starts scanning back and forth, and he gets back like into an area, and all of a sudden just stops. And he's aiming like right into this specific area of the tree line. And he stands there for a couple seconds, and then he slowly starts backing up towards the tree. And he's like, "Daniel, get out of the tree right now." I'm like, What do you do?" He goes, "I said, get out of the effing tree right now." Now, a lot of people hear, "Oh my gosh, your dad. Oh, you guys, this is 1978, 1979. I didn't wear
Yeah.
seat belts. Parents smoked in the car with their kids with the windows rolled up." So, so I get out of the tree, and as I get down to the bottom of the tree, he's right there. And he's like, "Listen, I need you to run as fast as you can back to camp. Don't stop. I'm going to be right behind you." And I'm like, "Oh, well, what's going?" He goes, "I told you, run. Just go. I'll be right behind you."
Yeah.
So I take off running. I don't hear my dad coming behind me. I'm maybe 25, 30 strides into this run, and he's not behind me like he said he was. So I stop and I turn around and look, and he's kind of looking still in that same direction. Well, all of a sudden, he turns around and he sees me. And he's like, I told you to run back. I mean, he's mad. So I take off running again. Now, I'm not going to go through each time. I did this. My dad and I did this cat and mouse game probably 4 or 5 times before we were both at a dead run, running right back into camp. As we come down around this little curve in the trail, the path, whatever you want to call it, into the camp, my uncle comes walking out of the tent. And my dad runs right up to him. He's like, "What the F are you doing up there trying to scare Daniel? Messing with him, and I'm trying to get him to learn how to hunt and all this type, and what are you doing?" And my uncle's like, "Whoa." He goes, "You need to calm down." He goes, "I just got back into camp." He goes, "No one's gonna see anything. It's gonna be way too warm today. Everything that is gonna be up and around is gonna be bedded down because it's too warm. Unless they absolutely need to, whatever." And so my dad, I hear him say something to my uncle, and he's like, "We got to go now. We need to pack up. We're leaving now." It's not like he's asking. He's telling my uncle, this is what's happening. We're doing it. And so we packed up and we left. Okay. Now I'm just going to let you guys in on something here. Remember, I was about 10 or 15 feet up in this tree stand. Okay.
Yeah.
My dad was only 5'7". My uncle, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". There's no way either one of them could have reached up and untied my bootstring. Now, did I see anything? No, I never saw anything. I only heard that crack. I never smelled anything. Now, years later, I asked my dad, I'm like, "Dad, do you remember that one time?" And he's like, yeah, I remember. I go, "So what did you see?" And he's like, "I didn't see anything. Didn't see anything."
What? He saw something for sure.
No, he said he
No?
never saw anything. It's what he heard.
Okay.
And he, again, my dad, again, raised in Alaska, a hunter, fisherman, he said the growl that I heard coming out of the woods was like nothing I'd ever heard. It was not a mountain lion of any kind. It was not a bear of any kind. I have no idea what it was, but I knew I had to get you out of there.
Wow. That is frightening, right? Just you don't see anything, but it's a sound.
But for me, people's like, "Oh, that," it's like you said, it's frightening. That's a scary story.
Yeah. It's scary when you put it all together. It's scary when you put it all together, when you piece it all together. But from each kind of perspective, it's like, okay, it's not too bad, and this is not too bad. But
for me being 7, what I was more scared of for a moment was my dad was leaving me up in the tree stand.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I got more scared of after, hearing other encounters, other stories, watching things on YouTube, reading things online, what really scared me as an adult now, because I know that fear now, and then I didn't know that fear. And again, I didn't know what Bigfoot was. Bigfoot was non-existent in my life. The word Bigfoot, the word Sasquatch were not even in my vocabulary. I had no knowledge of anything like that ever existed up to that point.
Yeah.
But the fear that I learned, the fear that I know was, okay, there were bear in that area. There were mountain lions possibly in that area. And I'm not going to tell you.
And the hairy man.
Again, I'm not going to tell you that it was a Bigfoot because I don't know. I can only go by what had happened. I can go by other stories that had similar encounters and kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. Now, if you want to call it a Bigfoot, go ahead. If Tim or River or Carol or BJ in the chat wanna say it's a big man or Bigfoot, okay, I won't say it because I didn't see
Yeah.
it. Now, 2 years later, when I was about 9, we went back to the same area, but this time it was a party of 9. It was 5 adults and 4 boys, and it was a boys' weekend out. It was my dad, my little brother this time. It was my uncle. My uncle's one of his very best friends, and then his 2 neighbors, and then their 2 boys. So, we're going back to the same area. Again, this is in Aberdeen, Washington. Washington State up in the Pacific Northwest. And, this time I'm a couple years older and we get there. Now, we had to drive what seemed like forever. And actually, I was maybe 2 hours north of Aberdeen, I want to say.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
that original encounter was in Washington State as well?
yep, same area, like exact same place.
Okay.
We went back, we drove down this old logging road, turned the trucks around so we were facing outward, so we were facing the way we came in. So it was time for us to leave. We could just jump in and just drive away with no problems. And we get there, and the adults are pulling deer sleds with almost all of the equipment, all of the gear, and the kids are pretty much just carrying backpacks, little kid backpacks,
Yeah.
thinking we're explorers. And we get in there, and it was probably 45 minutes to an hour hike into the woods. It wasn't right off the road. You really had to wind your way through this already well-beaten path that went through there. This tells me now, knowing what I know now, that this was a well-used campsite, probably a lot by my uncle and my dad and their friends. And maybe other people. So we get there and they set up the camp. Now the kids weren't doing anything. We were just running around being stupid. I was the oldest one at 9. I want to say the youngest one was, I think, 6, and that was one of these neighbor kids. So we're hanging out. We're just running around this area being stupid, and we run up to the stream. And where the camp was, right, probably, I don't know, 20 yards maybe from the camp was the stream. And right where this part of the stream was, it was a slow
Yeah.
moving part of the stream. And there was a pool, like a deep part of the stream there. And you could see fish. And I'm talking a bunch of fish. And so I get excited because I love to fish. So I run back up to camp and I'm screaming, "Dad, there's so many fish. Can I go fishing?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead." So, he shows me where all the fishing gear is. And I grab, the poles for me and my brother and the 2 other boys. They went and got their stuff from their dad. We run out there and we just had little jig worms and throw it out there. And I don't know what it was, but it seemed like every time one of our bait hit the water, we were pulling a fish out. Like, it was just stupid, just fish hand over
Wow,
fist.
that is awesome. I love it when you're fishing like that.
Oh, and I mean, I'm not talking, and I'm not telling you a fishing story here. I'm talking these fish were easily a good, 15 to 20 inches long. I mean, they were huge fish. And so we come back up with all these fish, and the 4 dads up there like, "Oh my," or 5 dads up there like, "Oh my gosh," holy smokes.
Yeah.
So we had fish for that night. Everybody got fattened up on fish. So we go to bed. We get up the next day and, we have breakfast and we're kind of wandering around the camp, and my dad's showing us some stuff. And my uncle comes out. He's like out of the tent. He's holding 2 rifles, little 22s. Who wants to shoot some guns? Right here, this 9-year-old does, and everybody else followed suit. All the kids followed suit. So we're just being stupid. I look back at it now, I was breaking every single firearm safety rule possible, with the exception of pointing a gun at somebody. We're shooting at rocks and we're shooting at this, and we're not worrying about ricochets or nothing. We're trying to shoot. We see a rocky outcrop hanging off this cliff that's right that goes up from the stream. We're trying to shoot that so it falls into the stream. Not going to happen with 22s. My uncle brings out his 44 Magnum single action Ruger Super Blackhawk and goes, "Hey, Daniel, come on over here. I think you're old enough now. What's up, River? How you doing, buddy? I do remember you, man. I do remember you. Do I remember getting any? No smells at all. None at all. So he tells me that it's time for me to. I'm 9. I'm a man. I'm like, okay. He goes, you shoot this. I'm like, okay. So he hands it to me. I could barely pick it up. It was that heavy.
Gee.
I couldn't pull the hammer back. I couldn't hold it up like this. So I had to be sitting with my back up against a fallen log. Had my hands, my forearms resting on my knees. And he goes, I'll pull the hammer back. So he pulls the hammer back. He goes, all you have to do is just barely touch that trigger and it's going to go off. He goes, so you really want to hold on to it. So I get it all ready and I hold on to it as tight as I think I'm doing. I tap that trigger, and that gun goes off, and it literally flips my arms back, and I let go of the gun, and it goes behind us. Like 25 minutes for us to look for it and find it.
Oh, shit.
You know, we start shooting some more, and then we start goofing off, and then we hear, or I hear at least, this loud like roar or holler or yell or something. And I look at my dad, and I go, is that a bear? And my dad goes, yeah, that was a bear. Okay. But it was so far off, you barely heard it, but I heard it.
Yeah.
And so, we continue doing whatever, and we call it a night. We go, and when it gets dark out, we go and lay down, go to bed. Well, the next morning, we get up and something had visited our camp. And I see these tracks, I see these prints, and I'm like, whoa, that's a pretty big bear. And I go, Dad, look at this bear track over here. My dad's like, oh, yeah, that's a bear. And, didn't think nothing of it. Nothing was torn into. They didn't mess with us or anything like that. And again, this day we went around on some hikes and we talked about the plants and what you guys can eat, what you can't eat. This is what you could do to help you survive. If this happens, we go by the deer stand that I was sitting in when I was, 7. And yeah, we had a great time. We went back to camp, did some more fishing, shot some more 22s. And as we get done with dinner, we hear the same roar or yell or whatever.
Yeah.
But this time it's a lot closer, like close. And I look at my dad immediately and he goes, that's a bear.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. My dad knows. He's all knowing. It's a bear.
Yeah.
So we go to bed and I don't know what time it was. And we're sleeping in an old military tent. Probably sleep like 20 people. There's 9 of us in it. If you walk in the tent off to the right-hand side, it's me, my dad, my brother, my uncle. And on the other side, it was the other 3 adults and the 2 other boys. And I hear this noise, and it wakes me up.
Yeah.
So I sit up in my sleeping bag, and I can see inside the tent. And what I see is my dad sitting up, or pretty much on his knees, holding a rifle.
Okay.
I see my uncle and his friend on their knees in the middle of the tent next to a small, like, Coleman lantern, and it was turned down super low, so we had some light in there, but it wasn't turned up bright to light up the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're there, and they've got their rifles. I see the 2 other dads across the tent. They have handguns. And I go to ask my dad what's going on, and he puts his fingers to his lips, tell me to be quiet. And I hear stuff going on in our camp. Like stuff being moved around, stuff being pushed around. And I'm just getting ready to ask my dad, what is it? And when I get ready to say, Dad, I hear what sounded like something taking its claws or nails or whatever, and running them down the side of this canvas tent right behind me, down the back side of the tent, and then on the other side of the tent where the other two boys and the two dads are over there, and it runs, and you hear it run off, like take off through the woods, and it's not being quiet, it's making a bunch of ruckus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now my brother and the other two boys are wide awake. I mean they're sound asleep. They're not. They're dead to the world. I'm the only one of the kids that's awake, and I'm getting ready to freak out. And we hear our camp getting torn apart. I'm sitting up in bed. I know I did not go to sleep. Neither did my dad. Neither did the two dads. Neither did. Well, I'll just stop pointing them out. I'll say none of the adults went to sleep. My uncle sees sunlight coming through like a small crack through the front flap.
Okay.
So he gets up and he very, very carefully sticks the barrel of his gun through the flap and moves it aside, and he's looking, and then he walks outside. The next thing I hear is my uncle go, "Dean, you got to get out here and see this." And so my dad starts to stand up, and I jump up real quick because if my dad has to see something, I got to see it too. I'm being a nosy kid. So I take off and I run right through I'm not even being cautious this time. I run straight through the tent flap.
Okay.
Right? Straight through the tent flap. And I see all the carnage that's been done. Our camping tables destroyed. Camping chairs, and it wasn't like the camping chairs you guys have now. It's like the old lawn chairs.
The old aluminum folding ones with
they're literally like twisted.
Oh,
every cooler that we had, and we had like I think 4 coolers, they had the lids, and these coolers were locked. You had to manipulate a lock to open these coolers. These coolers were peeled open, and the food bags were dropped out of the tree that we had them in, and they were opened, and anything that was not in a can was gone. And the tracks everywhere. Now, they must have been there, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And they pretty much destroyed everything.
Jesus.
They destroyed everything. So my dad looks at me, he goes, "Get the boys up. We're leaving." So I run in there. I go, "Guys, come on. We're leaving. We're going home. We're leaving." And they're like, "What?" I go, "Come on, just grab your sleeping bags and let's go." So we grab the sleeping bags. The other adults go in. They grab their sleeping bags. By this time, now they're taking whatever we can take, and they're putting it on these deer sleds. The tent was not even, neatly packed away. It was completely taken down and put on one of the deer sleds. So we start taking off, right? We start going, and that's when I hear my dad and my uncle both say, "I got one over here. I've got one over here." Now, how the line of people was, it was the 2 neighbors, their boys, my uncle's friend, my brother and I, my uncle and my dad. That's how our line was moving. The 2 youngest, my brother and one of the other kids, they were getting tired because we were almost at a dead run. They were slowing us up. They got picked up and put on one of the sleds, and the adults are dragging these deer sleds through this path, this windy path.
Yeah.
And the whole time I hear these things moving along both sides of us. Just ripping through trees, ripping through brush. And I see my dad and my uncle. My dad's facing this way, my uncle's facing that way, and they're moving with purpose. We get up to the little embankment that goes up on the road. The first 2 adults, they just go straight past the first truck, and they go to truck number 1 and truck number 2. They have their kids with them. My uncle's friend, he jumps in truck number 3. My brother gets put in the back seat of the truck number 3. My dad jumps into the back of truck number 2, and I jump in the back of truck number 3 with my uncle. Someone hits the side or the top of one of the trucks. That's the signal to get the heck out of there. So they start peeling off down this dirt road, this gravel logging road, and then my uncle opens up. Bam! Jacks around. Bam! They start shooting. And it's not like I scared your dog. And it's not like
I know.
he's,
I know. I'm like, how did she bark just at the right time? I'm like, I have my ears, my headset on. I'm like, how did she hear that? That was impressive.
So my uncle, he's just not shooting to shoot. He's like, I'm watching him aim at something and he's taking shots. And then I hear my dad start shooting. And I look up to see my dad, and he's doing the exact same thing. He's taking measured shots. Now, my dad and my uncle are both Vietnam vets. My uncle was in the Navy. He and my dad was in the Army, and so they both saw action in Vietnam. My dad was went to Vietnam twice. And they're taking their time on shots. They're not just shooting to shoot. And when I look up to see my dad, I see this branch or this limb come sailing through the air like a spear almost, and it goes right between the truck I'm in and the truck that my dad's in.
Holy cow.
And we just kept on going. And the whole time we were going, my dad and my uncle were shooting.
Yeah.
And none of us ever went back there. Now, again, here's the thing. Did I see something? No. Did I see physical evidence? Yeah, I saw physical evidence. But in my 9-year-old mind, the scariest thing that I knew that was in the woods at this time was a bear. So I'm thinking we're getting chased by bears because remember, I heard a bear roar.
Course. Yeah.
Now here I am an adult. I have my own podcast. I've already been on Wes Germer's show. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands of videos, read accounts, read reports. It wasn't a bear roar. It was not a bear roar. Too long to be a bear roar.
Yeah.
Too much stuff in too much of a vocalization to be a bear roar. Again, I'm not going to come on here on this show or any other show and tell you that it was a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because I did not see it. But everything that I saw, footprints, camp destroyed, something walking by and raking its nails across the canvas tent. Other people have had other encounters like that. What was it? I don't know. But again, you guys come up with your own assumption. So then, again, fast forward, now I'm 12. And we had just moved back with my dad from, where was I living? I was living with my mom, my stepdad. I want to say I was in Colorado at the time. We moved back to Washington State. My dad was newly single, which I was happy about because when my dad was with somebody or married, I kind of took a back seat.
Okay.
Especially if she had kids. They got 99% of the attention and I got less than 1% of the attention. So
that's nice.
Yeah, just makes me love my kids even more. I have 2 step kids, and that's one thing I said if I ever married someone that had children, that I would never treat those kids like I was treated. Those kids are gonna be just like my kids. And if I ever had a kid and I married someone with kids, my kid would still be loved just as much as everybody else. So we moved back with my dad. My dad was living in a fifth wheel, and from now on I'll call it a camper.
Yeah.
So he had this camper, and it was an adult, like retired RV park, retirement RV park. He didn't want us living in there. He knew the people. It was okay for us to be in there, even though we were way under the age limit. My dad, we didn't know it, but went and bought 5 acres of land, cleared about an acre of it, so I had 4 acres of forest,
Cool.
and it was awesome. Every native tree that was in that area was in this forest, along with pine trees, huckleberry bushes, old stumps that were probably, 8 feet around, had huckleberry bushes growing out of them, blackberries, trees, whatever, bushes, different types of animals. I mean, bear, I'm not bear, but well, there probably were bear. I never saw them, but deer, fox, coyotes, um, porcupines, uh, small rodents, like rabbits and things like that. Very active with all this wildlife. And my dad comes and picks us up in Tacoma. Now, this was going on in Graham, Washington.
Okay.
We were staying in Tacoma, Washington, with my aunt and uncle. My dad picked us up. We came, taking us home. He passes by the RV park, goes down a few miles, makes a right, goes down a couple more miles, makes another right, goes down a few more miles, and he turns off at this paved road. Now, at the end of this paved road, where the paved road meets the gravel road, is a street light. Only street light in this area. Goes down, and the road kind of dips down like this, and then it flattens out a little bit, and then it comes up on a little rise, and it goes straight for a little while, then it dips down again. Now, this happens like 2 or 3 times along this road. Now, as a kid, I thought this road was like 5 miles long. No.
We always over exaggerate. Like, oh yeah, this is
actuality, maybe a mile, 3/4, something like that between that. And so we went up and down this road, and my dad pulls into this area, and there's our camper. And my dad had built a really nice deck. Him and some friends built a really nice deck that's like twice as wide as the camper, almost as long as the camper. And because my dad liked to give parties, he put a long pole at one corner at the back of the deck, and put a platform up there because he was going to put a bird feeder up there. My dad loved watching birds. He could tell you just by hearing it call what bird it was. If it was the male or the female, he was just a nut like that, and I didn't know. My dad was an uber nerd when it came to birds, and I didn't know until later in life. So he shows us around the property. This is where I'm going to build a house. We're going to put an A-frame home here. You guys will both have your own room. I'm so excited about this. You guys, we're going to finally have something that's just ours. And that kind of gave me a feeling that my dad was never going to get remarried again. And I was super happy because when my dad was single, he was the best dad in the world.
Yeah.
I got all of the attention. Now, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, look at you. You guys don't, again, this is our relationship. My dad literally to the day he passed away was my best friend.
Oh, that's great.
And when it was just him and I, our relationship was rock solid.
Yeah.
And then when some step siblings came in, kind of broke apart a little bit. We were still close. We still loved each other. But now there were other people that were starving for attention from their dads, but never got it. So now my dad felt like he had to step up and be that guy. Yeah. And his philosophy was, well, I am your dad. I'm always here for you. Well, yes and no. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I get all excited. My brother gets excited. I'm 12. He's 10. We're like, heck yeah. We had a go-kart. We had a mini bike. We had a gravel road. We could speed up and down. We had trails that we could possibly make through the woods.
Awesome.
We were going to have a heck of a time.
Yeah.
So this was probably like early springtime. We were having just a huge, huge storm. You think of the worst rain, the worst thunder, the worst lightning, the worst wind. That's what it felt like. And on a fifth wheel, they have a loft, And so my brother and I slept up there.
Yeah.
It wasn't big enough to have a full size bed. All you had to do was all you could do was put a mattress up there, So we slept on the floor with a mattress, which is fine. And I'm laying on the side that's closest to the woods, the burn barrel, the shed. My brother slept on the side where the deck was. My dad had put some cement blocks under and around the the bottom of the camper to kind of give it a foundation, and he anchor strapped it all down, in case it got whatever. We had a bad windstorm or
Gotcha. Yeah.
whatever. So I'm laying in bed, and I don't know what time it was, but I know it was early, late at night, early morning, and the thunder and lightning was just incredible. And just when this loud crack of thunder hits, I feel like our camper does one of these numbers and then comes down. And the reason I say it did that is because I absolutely I rolled. I rolled over towards my brother's side, and I went down to this little spaces between our mattresses, and I quickly move over on my bed, and I pull this curtain back that's over this window, and I'm looking out
Okay.
through it, and I see this flash of lightning, and I see this massive thing move underneath this, by this tree underneath this branch, and it walks off into the to the woods. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Dad, I just saw a Bigfoot. A Bigfoot hit the camper." And it woke my
No.
dad up, and he's like, "No, you didn't. Shut up. You're gonna wake your brother up." Now, at this time, I knew what Bigfoot was. I'd
Yeah.
seen the Patterson
Yeah.
Gimlin film now. I checked out the books at school. There's only one book that had Bigfoot on there, and I had Patty etched into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a Bigfoot. Now, I always thought, oh, Northern California, maybe Southern Oregon. Never up in Washington State. So I think that I'm what I'm seeing is I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, perfect. So I go and tell my dad, hey, again, this is a Bigfoot. He's like, no, it's not. You're not, wake up the next day, get up, go outside, muddy as heck all over the place. It had rained literally all night. So if there were any chances of finding any kind of prints, they were washed out. Nothing definitive. And so I'm out there and I'm looking around, and I'm peeking around, and my dad comes out behind me. He's like, "What are you doing out here?" I go, "Dad, I'm telling you, the Bigfoot walk right underneath here." And he's like, "Listen, stop with that. Stop with that mess. You didn't see a Bigfoot." I go, "Dad, yes, I did." And he's like, "All right." Goes, unlocks the shed, pulls out a tape measure, and he starts taping up to this limb. And he goes, "You tell me when to stop." And I look up and I stop right there. And he looks on the tape and he's like, "There's no way." He's like, "Daniel, this is like 7, almost 8 feet tall. There's no way you saw something." I go, "Dad, yes, I did. It walked right through the woods right there." And we walked over there, and you could tell that something had pushed its way through in some of these through these woods. But you couldn't, I mean, it was a lot of pine straw, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
It's so thick on the ground. You're not leaving a big impression, especially with all the rain and everything that was going on. So I turned around and I go, "Oh, if I didn't see a Bigfoot, then you tell me what did that." And I pointed to the camper, and there was a massive dent in the camper. How it didn't punch a hole through this camper, I'll never know. I'll never know. And I
Wow.
go,
And
"Dad."
whereabouts in on the camper was it? Was it
So if this is the um the loft, the
Mhm.
loft goes down, it goes down like this, and then it goes like this. It was like right in this, no, right in like this area. So right where it started going up and curving a little bit over, that's where
Wow.
that hit. And it was a big dent. And I go, "Look," and I pointed to some of the cement blocks, and some of them were broken. And I go, "Look," and two of the anchor straps were pulled completely up out of the ground. And I go, Dad, then what did that? He's like, listen, don't tell your brother anything. He doesn't need to know. I don't need him scared.
Yeah.
Don't. And my brother goes out of nowhere, tell me what? And my dad goes, oh, a branch hit the camper last night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that noise was. Okay. And he just bebops around, goes back up into the camper, right? So now we're going to fast forward to around spring break time. Okay. And we had spent the entire spring break in Tacoma, hanging out with my cousins and my aunt and uncle. And we were driving back, and it was early, like late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, around that time frame. And this is when this all took place. And as we're coming up off of the paved road onto the gravel road, as the lights fan down, as we move down, I see like a faint, like an eye shine up ahead on the road,
Okay.
on the passenger side. And I'm sitting in the front seat, and I go, Dad, did you see that? There's eye shine up there. There's something up there on the road. He's like, oh, it'll move. And I go, Dad, turn the brights on. Now, my dad, a lot of people tell me, and I know now that it was an awesome car. 1971 Mustang Boss. I guess what
Nice.
302 or something like that. Like,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
it was black and gold. And my dad loved this car. Absolutely loved it. And so because of all the wildlife that we had, he had taken 2 like fog lights or driving lights, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And he put them on the car, but instead of having them facing out forward, he had them cocked where they faced out to the shoulders. So he could see both sides of this road, because not only was this gravel road we lived off of super, super dark, but even the paved road itself, it had, like, if I can remember, maybe 5 streetlights on the whole, like 3 to 5 mile stretch along this road. So it was also dark. And again, there's lots and lots of wildlife out, especially deer. And the last thing my dad wanted to do was to run into a deer or have a deer run into him. So he would
Of
want to
course.
be able to see. So if he saw one, he could slow down. So as we're driving, we go down, we come up the little rise, and we start heading forward again. And I see it again. I go, Dad, it's still there. Look at it. It's still there. And he's like, it's going to move. It's going to be fine. It'll move. Like, Dad, turn those brights on. We got to see what it is. He goes, listen, it's already seen us. It's going to move. We go down this dip. We start driving. Now we're coming up on this other rise. And we come up. As my dad's coming up, he hits the brights. Those lights come on. And as soon as we get up to the top of it, about 20 to 25 feet in front of us, off to the side of on the passenger side of the road, there she was. She was kind of hunkered down, and she stood up, and it just a fluid motion. She stood up, and I didn't think she was going to stop standing up. She just kept going and going and going. And in one movement, she did this, turned at her waist, put her hand over her face to block the lights, saw the hair. I'm getting goosebumps.
Jesus.
3 to 4 inch long hair coming from here. Saw her face. Her color of her hair was like a darkish charcoal gray.
Okay.
Her face was black. She had no face from like the top of her forehead down to about right here. Had no hair. Had hair over here, long hair this way. Nose was like ours. She had her brow ridge. Her nose was like ours, but a little bit, proportionate to her face.
Yeah.
Her upper lip was way thinner than her bottom lip. She had breast. That's why I know it was a female. And she turned, and as she turned, I slid down into the floorboard of the car.
I don't blame you.
And in my mind, one, I'm having two reactions right at that moment. I'm having absolute excitement, and I'm absolutely terrified. Inside, I'm screaming for joy because they're here. I knew it. They're here. I know what I just saw. I know what I saw, a while ago that hit our camper. They're here.
Yeah.
And then the terrified part of me was like, holy crap, they're here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's here. And so my dad never sped up. My dad never slowed down. He just kept a constant speed. I kind of peeked up because I'm guessing, okay, we're past her already. We're already past her. But I peek up and look out the window, and she's still standing. Now she's standing in the tree line. I can still see her because the way the light is angled. I can see her. Saw her eyes blink. Now, the eye shine that I saw was like a reddish, amberish color.
Yeah.
It wasn't like seeing a deer. It wasn't like seeing a dog, a coyote, a bear. It was nothing like that. This was a weird color. And that's what caught my attention so quick. We pass her. We go up maybe about 200 meters, whatever, turn left on into our property. I've already got my key out of my pocket. I'm opening up the door of a moving car. I jump out of a moving car, and I make a mad dash right for the deck. I'm running so quick. I run in front of my dad's car, jump up the force. I don't even hit the steps. I go from the ground to the top of the deck, unlock the camper, and jump in the camper. A few moments later, I hear my dad's door shut, and he's carrying my little brother. Right? Carrying my little brother, goes up the little steps, puts my brother on his bed, comes down, starts grabbing food out of the cupboard in the refrigerator, takes it outside, puts it on a table. I hear him go down the steps. I hear the passenger side door shut because I didn't shut it.
Yeah.
He shut that door. He gets a ladder and puts the ladder up, puts all the food up, comes back inside, grabs a rag out from underneath the sink in the kitchen, and he takes his tube out of his back pocket. And I later found out it was grease. And he went back out and he put a bunch of grease on this rag, and he greased this pole. Puts the ladder up, puts the rag up, and I'm watching him do this. Now, I had questions in my mind about what's he doing with this food? But what really, for whatever reason, and you guys were kids yourself, and you probably have kids or grandkids, our minds work different when we're kids. I'm watching him grease his pole, and for the life of me, I don't understand why he's greasing this pole. And I go, Dad, why did you put that on there? And he's like, oh, to keep animals from getting that food. And my mind immediately goes, oh, you mean like raccoons? And he's like, yeah, raccoons. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now, for what we had just seen 25 minutes ago, this completely switched my mind, my thought process. Now I got it in my mind, like, those freaking raccoons, they better not touch that food up there. Again, I don't know who the food's for.
Yeah.
I'm like, you effing raccoons. I'm going to shoot one of those raccoons with my 22 if I see him around my house. Now I got a vendetta against some raccoons that probably are not even going to see this food. And I'm ready to hunt some raccoons, right? So my dad comes in, and he comes in, he grabs a pack of cigarettes, and he steps outside. And he was a smoker. He never smoked in the camper. He always smoked outside the camper. And so he's out there smoking, and I hear him go, something like, we saw you. We know you saw us. I just want you to know, these are my boys. These are my sons. These are my children. Don't hurt them. Don't scare them. We're a family. We just want to live here in peace. We don't mean any disrespect. This up here is for you. You can have that. Now just please don't harm or scare my boys. And I'm like, who is he talking to? So I hear him take his last drag off his cigarette. He throws it in the butt can and he comes walking in. And I go, Dad, who are you talking to? And he's like, oh, I wasn't talking. I go, yeah, you were. What were you saying? And he's like, oh, well, I was praying. And I go, praying? I go, praying? And he's like, yeah. I go, I didn't hear you say amen. And he goes, oh, amen. Now, guys, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret, okay? My dad passed away in 2014, okay? I was 42 when my dad passed away. In the 42 years, and I'll even say in the 38 years where I consciously realized things that my dad was doing and saying. So I'm giving myself 4 years where I was completely oblivious to what my dad was doing. I never, ever saw my dad go to church. I never, ever heard my dad pray. Okay. So I knew he was trying to feed me a lot of garbage. So he looks at me and he's like, Bud, do you want to sleep with me tonight? Yes, please. Absolutely, I do. I'm ready to go to bed. Let's go. So my dad, his bed was a sleeper sofa. So he had a queen size bed, a fold up bed into a couch, which he always left out. And so I'm sleeping between my dad and the wall. My dad's sleeping between me and the door. And so I'm excited, but I'm so excited I'm exhausted and I go to sleep. I got my back up against this wall. And all of a sudden I hear this noise and my eyes shoot open. And I hear this creaking, like this groaning, so to speak, like when something heavy is stepping or being placed onto wood. You hear that cracking and creaking that these boards are making.
Yeah.
And I look at my dad and I go to ask him a question and puts his finger over his mouth. His lips tell me to shut up pretty much.
Yeah.
And I get ready to ask him a question again. I'm like, forget shushing me. I need to know what's going on,
Yeah.
I hear something run by the wall I've got my back rested against. I hear it and I feel it. And I look at my dad again and I hear more creaking, like it's stepping. And what I'm hearing is something huge is stepping up on the deck.
Yeah.
The thing that ran beside the camper and around the back, I heard it climb up onto the deck. Then I hear something else step up onto the deck. And
you're talking 3 then.
3 separate things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I'm hearing this and I'm looking at my dad. Now I can see my dad's expression because if you're born in the 70s, maybe the early 80s, your parents had a alarm clock that was about, I don't know, it was huge and it had those little numbers that would flip.
Oh, the flip numbers. I thought you were going to say the red ones, but this had the flip ones. Yeah.
Had the flip numbers and it had like a orangish, amberish glow behind them.
Yeah.
And so that left off enough light. And again, for some reason, I'm thinking around 1 a.m. That comes to my mind very, very clearly. 1 to 1:15, something like that, 1:14. And I go to ask my dad a question, and now I hear that all these noises and things, so I'm kind of closer to my dad. And then I hear, again, you guys don't crucify me for this, but this is what I heard, similar to this. I heard, Like I heard like a vocalization.
Yeah, you heard the samurai talk, or the samurai chatter, as they say, right?
Well, at that time, I didn't know what it was, and
Yeah.
it's very, very close to what I heard, and I tried to become a sweater on my dad. I've got my face buried into a pillow. I feel my dad's arm. He's trying to pull me in as close as he possibly can to protect me. At that time, he had a handgun in his left hand, and I know I'm crying. I'm losing my mind. I can hear these voices. I can hear these noises, and I cried myself to sleep. I don't know how long they were out there. I wake up because I see a stream of sunlight coming through the window on the door, on the front door. Now, the door you can't see out of and you can't see into. It was like a bathroom window. It was opaque.
Yeah.
And so you could see light coming and going, but you couldn't visually see anything. So I get out of the bed real quick and I run out onto the deck. Now, the top of the railing was about 8 to maybe 10 feet off, from the ground. I climbed up to the top of the railing and I'm doing like a tightrope walker act, keeping my balance, and I'm trying to look up at this platform to see if the food's up there. The food is gone.
Damn those
all the food is gone. And I jump off of the deck onto the deck and I go, "Dad, they ate all the food. The food is all gone." And he heard me when I jumped off of the railing. "You better not be up on that railing. You'll kill yourself," And he comes out. He goes, "What are you talking?" I said, "Dad, all the food's gone. It's all gone. Look. The food's all gone." And I'm like excited.
Yeah.
"Dad, all the food is gone." And so I go looking around and I walk up to this pole. And I can see in multiple spots in this pole, something had grabbed this pole.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But what's even cooler than that is that something had taken its finger and as high up as it could reach, dragged it all the way down the pole, and then wiped the grease off of its finger onto the railing. And I point that out to my dad. My dad's like, "Don't say a word to your brother. He doesn't need to know." And I'm like, okay. So now this is killing me because I want to tell my brother so bad.
Yeah.
I want to tell him that he's missing some awesome stuff. Fast forward to summer. I know for a fact, I remember, I'll never forget it. I don't remember the date, but I know it was summer and I know it was a Saturday because my dad was taking us fishing. But the night before, he got a call from work saying, "Hey, we have to do inventory because you're a supervisor. You need to come in on Saturday and help out with the inventory."
Mm-hmm.
Now, this inventory was 8 o'clock time start. And whenever you're done, you're done. Just so happens it was a full day. It was like a 5:30 day.
Okay.
That's when my dad got home. It was like at 5:30. And he comes up into the driveway. Hear my dad coming up. We got the door opened up. We got the speakers out. Now, this is what we're doing. We're doing wrong stuff. We're doing stuff we shouldn't be doing. Okay, we're 12, we're 10, we're two young boys out by ourselves, and we don't give a crap because we don't have any parental supervision, right? So we're eating junk food like we're not supposed to be drinking. We're drinking Pepsi. We're not supposed to be drinking my dad's Pepsis. We got the door open up. We got my dad's speakers out on the deck, and we are cranking up music that's being played on my dad's record player that is playing his vinyl records. And we're talking first pressings of Beatles albums, Zeppelin albums, Rolling Stones albums, The Who. We're jamming out, right?
Yeah.
hear my dad come on in, and I heard him do something that I never heard him do, but maybe once or twice. Now, someone in the team in the chat loves Mustangs, especially like my dad's car was a muscle car.
Yep.
He slammed his car door. He never slammed his car door unless he was absolutely pissed. Okay? And I hear him yell, "Daniel, where's the burn barrel?" And I'm like, what? I come walking out. I'm like, what? Where's the burn barrel? I go, how do I know? I didn't burn any trash. Because that's back in this day, we didn't have trash pickup. We had to burn our trash. We had a 55-gallon drum that had some holes punched in it and had sand put in the bottom so it wouldn't blow over.
Yeah.
And he was just pissed. Where's the GD burn barrel? And I go, how in the hell am I supposed to know? And he's like, boy, you better get down. And I go, Dad, what? Now, my brother's in there playing Atari 2600. Okay. He could care less. He didn't have to burn trash. That wasn't his chore. Yeah. He was a prodigal son. He didn't have to do any chores pretty much. So he goes, get over here right now. Get over here. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm done. And I just kind of slowly started walking. He's like, Daniel Anthony, if I have to come up on that deck, boy, you are going to be so sorry. And he's gritting his teeth and he's, get over here. I'm like, oh, I'm done. I got to pee my pants. I just know that I'm going to pee my pants if he swats me, right? So I go down. He's like, get over here, explain this to me. And I go, what? And he goes, that. I go, what, Dad? What? Where's the burn barrel? And he's like, that's what I'm asking you. I go, how do I know? So now my dad is accusing me of doing something that I didn't do. And in my 12-year-old mind, my dad's calling me a liar. And I don't like to be called a liar. So I start kind of giving it back to my dad. Now, did I realize I was writing checks with my mouth that my butt couldn't cover? Not until about maybe 25 minutes into us arguing. And then I realized I was past the point of no return. So instead of coming back up off of that, giving my dad attitude, I just kept going with it. And I go, what do you think? I'm a mind reader? You know, I'm sure I'm just yelling at my dad. He's yelling at me. He's like, well, it just didn't get up and walk itself. I go, how am I going to move it? I don't even weigh 100 pounds. You think I'm going to take it? What? Are you crazy? You know, and we're going at it. And he's like, well, where is it? I go, well, I don't know. Where do you think it is? And he goes, just find it. I go, where am I going to look? He goes, well, I'll look over here. I go, fine, whatever. So whatever reason, I said to myself, I'm just going to walk in the woods. So I walked into the woods where that thing walked into.
Yep.
And guess what I find?
The
burn barrel.
Was it destroyed a little bit or anything?
It wasn't picked up and sat in there. It was thrown into the woods. It was laying on its side. Now, with 40 pounds of sand and a full size, 55-gallon drum, I don't know, does that weigh over 100 pounds? I was a scrawny, weak kid back in that time frame. I could barely pick up my shoes,
Were you about like 13 years old, 14 maybe?
12. I was 12.
Okay. 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I go, hey, Dad, I found it. And he's like, you found what? I go, what do you think we're looking for? And he's like, boy, I go, get over here, Dad. It's over here in the woods. He's like, well, how to get over here? I go, I don't know. You know what? I do know. It was that damn Bigfoot. That Bigfoot picked up that burn barrel and threw it here in the woods. Listen, I'm not going to argue with this. Help me get this in here. Get it back out here. So we get it moved back to where it's supposed to be. And he's like, listen. I go, Dad, you listen. I said, it was one of those Bigfoots. It's mad. It threw it into the thing. And he's like, listen, you don't need to be saying nothing to your brother at all. He goes, Daniel, swear to me. Swear to me you are not going to say anything to your brother. And I go, Dad, I promise I'm not going to say anything to Bobby. And he goes, all right. And my brother goes, well, you're not going to say what to me?
Of course. Of
course.
Because
now my brother was a peacekeeper. he didn't like to hear us fight, and he heard us yelling, and he wanted to come down. Hey guys, hey, he wanted us to stop yelling at each other. He did not like confrontation at all, ever in his life, up until the day he passed away. He did not like confrontation. That's just who he was. He was like, he'd rather, later in life, he's like, hey man, smoke some of this and just have a good time, man. There's no reason to get hostile. And when he goes, don't tell me what, I, without even thinking about it, said, Bobby, a Bigfoot through the burn barrel in the woods. And my dad slapped me. Bah! Slapped me. And I go, I grabbed the back of my head, and he goes, what? And I told him again, and he goes, well, I don't think it was one of the two small ones that I saw. I don't think they would throw it in there. And we're like, whoa, what? He goes, yeah, I've seen two small ones. I go, what? And my dad's like, what do you mean you saw two small ones? He goes like, yeah, come here, I'll show you. So we go walking through the area that we had cleared out, and there's this little crop of trees. He goes, yeah, what they do is they walk from over here, and then they walk in and they sit down right into this area of the trees, and you can't see them unless you see them moving into there. You'll never know they're there if you don't get a glimpse of them walking towards that area, because that's where they're going to go. And they always come over here when we're playing music, or we're cooking out here on the deck, or we're out here playing or whatever. And then they come up because they're curious. And I go, really? And he's like, yeah. He goes, I've thrown some baseballs and tennis balls out in the woods to them, but they don't give them back. They just keep them. And I go, what do you mean they keep? He goes, well, after I throw them, I don't get them back. I wait a day or so, and I go out there, and I can't find him anywhere. And I go, shut up. He's like, yeah. He goes, I saw one jump out of our tree fort one time. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, I was going down the path, and I was getting ready to walk up to the tree fort, and I saw one. And he said the way it did it was really, really odd to him. Instead of jumping, because our tree fort is about 15 feet in the air, instead of jumping and sticking the landing and then running off, he said it jumped out and just kept running. Like it never missed a stop. It just, feet hit, and it was like running. Like, he said the way that it moved, it was so weird, the way that it moved. And he said it was so fast. He goes, it just weaved in and out of the trees so quick. He goes, I couldn't follow it. And there's been a couple times, when we were up in the treehouse, like one time in particular, we just got this feeling like something was, like the air changed. It got really, not dreadful, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Heavy?
Yeah, it was like a heavy feeling, like something was up.
Okay.
And I kind of looked out the window of the tree fort, and then probably about 70 feet in front of the window I was looking out, I saw something go back behind a tree.
Jeez.
And I'm like, what did I just see? And so I kind of stepped back into the tree house more, and I'm still looking out the window, and I see it go like this. I see it go. And then I look out real quick, and it goes back like this. And then he comes and he moves over to the other side. And all you see is like his left eye, left part of his face. And he was every inch of 10 feet tall. And what we came to realize is that this was a family that was living in the area. Not saying it was specifically living in our 5 acres of land, but at this time, this was a huge swath of forest. Huge swath of forest. I've looked at it, probably last year on Google Earth, and about 80% of those trees are gone now.
Oh, shit.
But the one that was peeking behind the tree, that was the dad. The female we saw, obviously the mom. The one that hit the camper and probably threw the burn barrel into the trees, into the woods, was like a young adult, like an older sibling of the two juveniles. And yeah, so in October of that following year, October of 84, my dad was involved. Actually, in 2 days, it'll be the anniversary of my dad's accident. He was almost killed in an accident.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I hate to say this, I think Tim's the one who loved the Mustang. My dad
Tim or Ducky or
totaled
something. Yeah. Oh,
totaled the Mustang. Now, what was cool about this is my dad had T-tops put into the Mustang,
yeah.
so that Mustang was awesome. He it was flipped it end over end one time. He got catapulted through the T-top,
Oh shit.
and when he landed, he stood up, and that's when the thing had rolled like 4 times, and it hit him in his shoulder. Hit
Holy
him in his
crap.
chest and his shoulder. Um, so I get a phone call at like 4:15 in the morning. I'm already up because I'm getting ready to go to school, and it's my dad. And he convinced someone who stopped to help him to take him to work so he could call us. I got to call my boys, and then you guys can take me to the hospital. So that's what he did. He told me it was an accident. My first question was, "Is the car okay?" Because my dad had always talked to, I'm 12 years old. 4 years
Yeah.
I'm driving. My dad had talked about, this is going to be your car, you know? So I'm like, okay, and he goes, your aunt's coming to pick you up, get everything you need. He goes, we're going to be living with her for a while because I have all this physical therapy to do. She came and picked us up, and unfortunately, my dad couldn't work, and he lost the land. The
Shit.
new owners of the land wanted the camper gone. My dad sold the camper. So that following spring, we went out there, my dad, my aunt, my brother, and I, to clean out the camper because it was being moved like in a couple of days. And I didn't want to go inside the camper. I didn't want to. I for some reason, I had a personal connection with this property.
I can imagine. I could
You
imagine.
know, we were there for like a year and a half, and oh man, so much fun living there.
Yeah.
Um, and so while my brother, my aunt, my dad were in the camper cleaning up and packing things up, I just walked around. I just walked around the property, and I noticed something when I was walking around the camper. Is that on every window, it looked like something was looking in on the window because there were palm marks and like nose impressions on these windows. Now, that could have been anybody, honestly.
Could be,
Except,
but who's out there in the middle of
well,
nowhere?
you never know. But again, what really caught me was the windows that were up in the loft. You had to be on a ladder to look in those windows or be extremely tall.
Yeah.
And, that was the last time I ever laid eyes on that property again, like physically. Again, Google Earth, I put eyes on the property. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's my sighting.
Wow. That is intense and emotional too, like an emotional end to it all as well. Saying
Yeah.
goodbye to it all.
Yeah, it was rough. And I like to think, and I'm still gonna probably until the day I pass away, I'm gonna think, you know what? One day we're there, the next we're not, and they were worried about us.
Mhm.
You
I
know?
think so. I definitely think so. They're wondering where you went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I my dad got married, and I was living with my mom in Tennessee, and and after that I left Tennessee, moved back with my dad, joined the Air Force, went through basic training, went through tech school, had a couple other specialty schools I went to, and then I went to Air Base Ground Defense at Fort Dix, New Jersey. And they do a lot of training in the Pine Barrens up there. Well, one day I was my squad, we were practicing maneuvers, and we had to do a march. Uh, I was squad 2. I'll say I was squad 2. Squad 1 was setting up an ambush, and we had to walk that area um, um, kick off the ambush, and we
Okay.
were being graded on how we reacted to the ambush and how the people who kicked off the ambush, how they they kicked off the ambush. So as I'm walking point, and it's nighttime, but it's not pitch black. You can there's ambient light you could see from the moon or whatnot. It wasn't a full moon, it was a small, and then the stars. As I'm walking point, I'm about 10, 20 meters ahead of the rest of the squad. Now, the only people who had night vision was our instructors that were walking along with us. And as I'm walking down this road, but off to the side into the brush a little bit, I see this thing about 70 meters ahead of me on the left-hand side of this big road that just stands up. And I immediately drop to a knee. And again, I have my M16 with me, but I have a blank adapter on there because all we have is blanks.
Yeah.
And whatever reason, out of reflex, out of training, I just bring it up, and I'm like drawn down on it. I'm looking at it, and it just sinks back down. And I go to myself, I'm like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
And about that time, I'm still down on one knee, and my instructor comes up, and he's like, Hamilton, what the F are you doing? I said, Sarge, I just saw something stand up about 70 meters right there in that crop of trees. And he's like, brings up his nods, and he's looking, and he's like, man, you didn't see nothing, man. There ain't nothing over there. You need to get up. We're already behind schedule. We need to go over and kick that ambush off, blah, blah. And he's like giving me a hard time. I'm like, okay, not a problem.
Yeah.
So I get up, and, I hear everybody else not being quiet, but getting up. And as I take about 20 to 25 steps, and this thing jumps up, lands in the middle of this road, and then jumps over the road again. So in like one spring in the middle, one spring off, and
Yeah.
it's hauling butt at a diagonal direction away from me. And when I see it jump up, I immediately drop to the prone. I'm now in the prone position. I'm trying to be as small as I possibly could be. I'm trying to crawl up underneath some bushes because I don't know what this thing is. I don't know what it's going to do. But it was huge, and all I saw was a big black mass. And my instructor comes running back up again. Get your boom. He gives me a boot in the butt, tells me to get up. And I get up, and I'm like, I just saw it again. And he goes, you didn't see shit, Hamilton. And I go, yes, I did. I said, listen, and you could hear something hauling butt through the woods.
Yeah.
Like just moving. And then all of a sudden, we hear automatic weapons fire going off. M60 machine gun popping off, M16 shooting. This thing must have, at my thought, like, what is happening? So my instructor's like, move, let's go. So we take off at a run. There's no more noise, discipline. We're at a dead run. We're at absolute dead run. And we take off, and we come up to the ambush spot, and their instructor sees us running up. Our instructor meets him, and I hear them screaming at each other. What the heck are you doing, so-and-so? You sent some big SOB through our location and blah, blah, blah. This, he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I got my whole squad here. And I said, I told you, I saw something run off in here. And you could still hear this thing now yelling and running away through. He says, whatever it was big. It ran through our ambush and scared the hell out of a couple of my airmen.
Holy
yeah, these guys were freaked out. So again, do I think it was a Bigfoot? Yeah, I think it was a Bigfoot.
There we go. Yes.
I do. I think it was, but I didn't get a good look at it.
Yeah.
And then my final encounter, because I know it's getting late and you probably got to go. But this one,
we'll do one more, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is my last Sasquatch Bigfoot encounter. This happened in 1992. May of 92, I called home to wish my mom a happy Mother's Day. I was in Germany. My brother answered the phone. He wouldn't let me talk to her because she wasn't there. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, oh, I can't tell you. I go, no, bull crap. You better tell me. Now, I'm not going to lie, you guys. I'm not going to lie. 20 years old in Germany. I am freaking hammered. And I'm getting belligerent with my little brother. And you better tell me, or when I get home, I'm going to put my foot up your boot. And I'm losing my stuff on him. He's like, all right, all right. He goes, Daddy Bob died. Now, Daddy Bob was my grandfather.
Okay.
And that's what we called him. We called him Daddy Bob. We never called him Grandpa. We called him Daddy Bob. And he goes, Daddy Bob died. And I went from being absolutely pissed drunk to stone sober.
Yeah.
If I'd have given blood or blown into a thing, then I would have blown off the charts because I was hammered. I take a second to collect myself. I tell him that I love him, and I hang up the phone. I walk back to the club, and as I walk in, my flight sergeant sees me, and he knows something's wrong. They walk me back to my dorm, and about 10 minutes later, the first sergeant's at my door. He has a Red Cross notification. Aaron Hamilton, your grandfather passed away. We're going to get you home. We'll take care of you. Cool. Fast forward, I fly into West Virginia, bury my grandfather. My mom, my dad, my little sister, we drive down from West Virginia back to Tennessee. My brother knew I was going home for the funeral. He didn't know I was then continuing on to come home. I wanted to surprise him for his graduation. So I surprised him for graduation. And as a kid, we always loved to camp, just him and I. And yes, the property in Graham, Washington, we camped in those woods plenty of times and never had issues. We go, he's like, I go, let's go camping. So we get in his 1976 baby blue with a white vinyl top Lincoln Continental. We called it the Stinkin' Lincoln. And we loaded up with our gear. And he goes, I know a perfect spot. Let's go. So we go to this place called Shelby Forest. It's in Millington, Tennessee, or Shelby County, Tennessee. We park. We walk down the road about 200 yards, hit the trailhead, and we're walking for a good 45 plus minutes. And he's like, man, if we cut through here, we'll save a lot of time. I know this place. I know where we can camp. It's super cool. It's right by the river. You can wade across the river a little bit onto a sandbar. It's going to be a fun time. I'm like, cool, let's go. So as we're rolling through, we go through, he hear these noises. Couldn't really put my finger on what the noise was. I figured it's maybe a squirrel or rabbit or something like that. It's kind of like a shuffling noise. Like, okay. So we start walking and I hear this whistle. I'm like, what the hell is that? And so my brother goes and he goes, I'm going to take a leak. I'm like, cool. Yeah. So he goes and he walks up to a tree and he starts getting ready to do his business. And I hear that same whistle again. And I look at my brother and he's like, oh, I knew it. You freaking checking me out, man. What's wrong with you? I knew it. Just like the Navy. You joined the Air Force. Yeah, you like what you see, buddy? You like it? I knew you played for that team. I'm like, dude, shut the hell up. Because he's insinuating that I'm checking his junk out. And I'm not. Because I went to ask him, like, hey, man, did you hear that whistle? He's like, yeah, you whistled at me because you like what you see. I go, man, shut the hell up. Did you hear that whistle? He's like, yeah. I go, man, it wasn't me. He's like, whatever, man. He goes, I'm going to keep my eye on you. I know he's just busting my chops. He's just clowning me, right? Yeah. Now, my brother's a big boy. I'm 5'9", 5'8", 5'9". My brother's like 6'2", 6'3", maybe 6'4". I weighed like 180 pounds. He was pushing like almost 3 bills, like a big boy. And so we start walking. Yeah. And I go, well, hell, I got to go to the bathroom. So I move up to a tree and start getting ready to do my business. And out of nowhere, he grabs me. And I think he's playing games and trying to get me back because he thinks I'm checking him out. He grabs me and he yanks me back super hard away from this tree. And just as he did that, this piece of wood or a branch comes flying through the air and hits the tree right where I was next to. And he's like, dude, we got to go. Man, we got to
Oh,
go
crap.
right now. I saw something throw it. I go, what did you see? He's like, I just saw it get thrown. He goes, we got to go. And so I'm like, okay, let's go, man. Let's go. Let's head out. So he starts leading us back out the way we came. And now we're hearing something. Like
Yeah.
I know for a fact this is not a squirrel. This is not a rabbit shuffling through. This is something is shadowing us, and it's making noises, little growls, little, vocalizations. And he's like, man, we got to go. So we're moving through, and we probably walked about a good 45 plus minutes off this main trail. And we get about halfway back to where we were getting ready to, we're about halfway to the main trail. And he just, I don't know, I just watch him. He just grabs a tree and like puts his hand on his thigh, his right hand on his thigh, and he looks like he's thrown up. And he's like, my head hurts. I'm dizzy. My chest hurts. I feel nauseous. And I'm like, whoa, man, hold on. So I break out a canteen. I'm like, come on, take some drink. Don't gulp it. Sip. Take some sips. Come on. And I'm kind of rubbing his back. I'm trying to get him to like, come on, man, shake it off. Shake it off. He's like, I don't know what's going on, man. I feel so sick. And he's like dry heave. He's almost like he's dry heaving. He's like, oh my gosh, man, I'm not feeling good. I'm like, here, drink some more water. Drink some more water. So I get him to where he goes, yeah, I can go. So as we start going, I said, I'm following your pace. Lead us out. We get about 25 feet, 30 feet from where this just happened to him. And boom, all of a sudden I drop to one knee.
Wow.
Because
Really?
all of a sudden I get this super massive tighten in my chest. I feel extremely nauseous. I'm absolutely disoriented. I got this massive headache, and I'm honestly, to be honest, I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack. Because it wasn't like sweltering hot, but we had our packs on. We're moving through. We're making like a path. We're like bushwhacking in a way. We're kind of weaving in and out of trees. We're stepping over fallen stuff. This was not a worn path. We were, this was not a readily available path to walk on. We were making the path. We were like trailblazing in a way.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, we've got all this extra, stuff we're doing. And I'm literally dry. I got saliva and drool coming out of my mouth. And my brother's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he's giving me some water. And I recovered a lot quicker than he did because even to this day, I attribute it to my training. You get hit with something, they try to train you to push through it to try to get yourself back to a center so you can keep going. And so I'm like, go, man, you lead the way. I'm right behind you. And this whole time we hear something making crazy noises, grunts and growls. And so we get to the main trailhead, and now we know where we went in. We're about a 45 plus minute walk or whatever to the main road. We start taking off and we're moving at a good clip. And then my brother's just like, dude, I am gassed. Like, I can't go anymore. I'm like, come on, man, come on. And I'm pushing him, and I'm like, come on, you got to go. He goes like, man, I'm so tired. And he's still feeling the effects of whatever hit us. I mean, I'm
Yes.
having a little bit of residual, but again, I'm able to push through this a little bit better than him. And so as we get going, I see the embankment that comes up to this main road. And when we get up there, he is done. He is absolutely exhausted. You could see he's pouring sweat. And I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. I can see where the road has a bend in it, and that's where we're parked at. That's where we're parked. And
Wow,
all of a
this is
sudden
intense.
he goes, I just saw it cross the street. And I go, what? What did you see? He goes, it was big. It was so big. And I go, listen, man, what? He goes, man, just go. Just go. And I'm like, man, I'm not leaving you. He's like,
Yeah,
listen, give me your
exactly.
knife. He's like, give me your knife. Give me your knife. And I'm like, no. He goes, just give me your knife. You give me your knife. And he goes, um, tell, okay,
Take your time. Take your time.
tell mom that I love her.
Jeez.
And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, just go, man. He goes, you're faster than me. You got more going on for you. He goes, just go. Just make sure you tell mom that I love her. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, just go, man. I got this. I'll hold him off so you can get out of here. And I slap him. I slap him as hard as I can. And I'm like, listen, man, this is you and me.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving you for anything. I go, give me your knife. I got this. I go, I'm faster than you. I'll catch up with you. I go, trust me. And in my mind, this is my baby brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't let anything happen to him. This is my job, you know? And I have this mindset. I'm in the military.
Yeah.
I have this training. And now I'm pissed. I'm going to take all this anger out on whatever it is. I know it's bigger than me. So I say, go, man. I got you. I grab his knife. I have my knife. And I'm like, come on, you mother effer. You want to go? You want to go? Come on. Yeah, you may get me, but I'm going to make sure you feel what I got here for you. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm like showing these knives. I'm like, come on. You want some of this? Come on. And I don't know how long I'm screaming at this thing. And this thing is giving me his intensity tenfold. Like I hear him breaking stuff, screaming. And all of a sudden I hear my little brother scream, let's go. And I do a quick look like this over my shoulder and I see him just rounding the bend in the road. And
Yeah.
I know he's there. I know he's there. He's going to be safe.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I'm not saying I have superhuman speed. I'm not saying that. I'm like, I must have caught this thing off guard. Like, I don't think this thing understood like he thought he was going to get the upper hand, and me showing the aggression that I showed kind of maybe was like, he's like, oh, what do I do? But
Yeah.
it's like, as soon as I turn my head back, I whip back again real quick to my left. And like in 2 steps, I was at a dead sprint and I was running as fast as I possibly could. Now, back in the day and at this time frame, I could run a sub 5-minute mile. And I
Jeez.
had very quick takeoff speed. So I took off with everything I had, and it must have shocked him or confused him on how quick I took off. But it had to be at least no more than 2 seconds that this thing all of a sudden realized it's like, oh, he wants to run away. And he took off running. And I heard him coming up behind me. And I'm going with and my lungs were burning. And I come around the bend, my brother's standing by the car, and I see that car. I take off and I try to Dukes of Hazzard across the hood of that car.
Yeah.
I go whoop, slam down on my back. I land on my pack. It knocks the air out of me. And the first thing I do is I just try to push all the air out of my body so I can get a fresh, deep breath in. And I did it for a couple of times, got my breath in me, unlocked his car door, hit the auto lock, his opened up. We jumped in, started the car, and took off. Now, to get out of here, you have to go around this little windy road, down a straightaway, and then there's a T-stop. So as we come through the windy road and we're going down this straightaway, my brother's screaming, go faster, go faster. He's right there. It's right there. It's right on us. Go, go, go. I'm trying to drive with everything that I have, and this car for some reason is not getting it. And I don't know, about halfway through the straightaway, I just stomped on the gas again as hard as I could, and it picked up, and we started flying. We come to the T-stop. If I turn right, I'm going back deeper into this park. I crank it to the left, start going around the windy roads, gets me to the main road, out to the highway, and then gone. And to this day, I have never gone off a beaten path. When I've gone hiking, I've stayed to well-defined paths, marked paths. I've never been back to the Shelby Forest. And just let you guys know, there is one confirmed sighting in Shelby Forest in the area that I was in.
Well, 2, including yours now.
Yep, I never reported it.
Yeah.
But
Jesus.
that's I'm sorry I got a little emotional, you guys.
No. Like that's the thing here, Dano, is that these experiences that people don't understand, like they are traumatic, stressful. People get PTSD. When my friend Matt talks about his, the same thing happens as well. It's and I applaud you taking care of your little brother. That was amazing. Good job.
Well, technically, I should say younger brother because there's nothing little about him. He made me look like a dwarf sometimes. But yeah,
no, that was this was super intense, and I just want to say thank you, Dano, for sharing this with us. Like there were in these you recounting these experiences, there was highs and definitely some lows, and very emotional and scary and exciting, all packed into one. And so thank you so much for spending the time with us. And to all our listeners and our viewers, on their behalf, I'll say thank you. That was amazing.
well, I mean, you guys, thanks for having me. And I see a lot of the comments going on. You guys, I'm nothing special, guys. I'm just a 53-year-old grandpa of 3 that I've led a crazy life, but a great life.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful and blessed for everybody who's supported my channel, the Cryptid Podcast. And someone put in here that your place is a safe place, and that's what the Cryptid Podcast is.
Yeah.
And
It is.
I don't. This last one was hard for me to talk about. It always is, because I get emotional because I lost my little brother in 2016, and he was only 42.
It's young.
And
I'm sorry for your loss. It's extremely difficult.
this would be so much better. This would taste so much sweeter, just doing this whole thing, if I was able to share it with him,
Yeah.
So, all right.
Damn.
Deep breaths. I'm sorry, guys.
No, not. There's nothing to be sorry about. I completely understand. And I'm sure, I am positive he is watching over you and watching you do this and making this your podcast and your show, and how invested you are into it, and how of you really interact with your viewers and your guests. You do it quite well. And I'm sure he's proud of you, Dano.
Well, I mean, I love everybody who joins or watches or views, because you guys are like my family, and Again, he's been gone since 2016, and if you haven't seen it, uh, do a YouTube search on how Billy Bob Thornton describes um how he feels about losing his brother, and I feel exact same way. On any
Yeah.
given day, I'm 50% sad, I'm 50% happy, but I'm always in a constant state of melancholy. Um, and if I have to relive that pain every single day, um, just to remember my little brother, um, that's a pain that I'll shoulder every time. And yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No, no, it is. It is. And
man,
take a breath. Take a breath
man,
there.
I
That's
swore that I was not gonna get like this. Last time I got like this, man, I got just obliterated in the chat, in the comments.
well, as you can see, you're in a good
Yeah.
place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's like, I'm subscribing. They it's they can tell that you're authentic. Nano, like we're real people who have real
Yeah.
lives, real emotions, and some of us have had some real experiences. And you got to share it with your family, with your brother, with your dad, um,
Yeah.
and now you got to carry on that torch, and let people know what is out there. And
Yeah.
they got to be careful, because these things, in my opinion, they're curious, but they're not our friends. You got to be careful.
Yeah. And again, it's um my sighting that whole year and a half was amazing. I never felt any aggression at all. It was so
Okay.
passive,
Yeah.
you know, um, being chased out with the guys and then my little brother. Very aggressive, very frightening. The very first one where my boo was getting untied, I think that was more playful than anything. And
Yeah.
then in New Jersey, I think it was just wandering along, and here's all of a sudden, a squad of dudes with
Yeah.
guns, and he didn't know what to do. So, he
So
decided
he
just to
he he got the heck out of there.
to
Yes.
bounce out of there. But again, man, Rye, thank you so much for asking me to come back on, man. I really enjoyed it, and you're a good dude. You have a great channel. You got amazing community going on here, and I'm just grateful to be part of your channel now in a way. So
Yeah. No, you are. You're always invited to come back on, Dano. Like, and I mean that. I mean that wholeheartedly. If you hit me up, you're like, "Hey, dude, you having a live? You want me to come on?" Of course, of course.
yeah,
Like, you have a gift of being a great storyteller too. Not only are you a good storyteller, but you have such an emotional tie to it as well, and it shows that you really do care. You're human. You're human like us. You're not in it for the fame and glory. You're in there to spread the word, and it's just it is what it is. And you are authentic, and so again, thank you.
I appreciate it, man. No, thank you, and everybody, all for your kind words again. I'm not on here to get any notoriety or anything like that. And
Yeah.
um, I just love you guys. There's stuff going on out there that we should know about, and we don't. And I'm a firm believer that if one of my stories is able to help anybody out there, either in the chat now or watches later, that you've had an encounter and you're afraid to come forward, there's people like Rye, there's people like myself that we welcome you with open arms because we've had our own encounters, and a lot of our community have had encounters. And
Yeah.
your story, no matter how small or how big it is, could potentially be part of that puzzle we need to move forward with identifying these creatures to bring them more to the forefront so people understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree completely. I think it's a lot more connected than we care to give it credit for. I think there's a lot more connections out there, with the cryptid, and then even go with the paranormal, and then the UFO and everything. There's so much more out there, and and I know that you are geared towards the cryptid, whereas myself, I'm kind of like this wide stroking brush kind of thing for everything, and I applaud you for doing what you do, Dano. So again, I think everybody knows where to find you, but why don't you give your channel a shout out here before we wrap this up here?
Sure, guys. Again, I'm Dano, host of the Cryptid Podcast. I can be found on YouTube and Spotify, and hopefully soon other podcast platforms, Amazon, Pandora, Apple, iHeartRadio. So if you guys have some of those, you can check them out as well. And again, if you have had an encounter and you'd like to come on my show, my email address is thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. And if you click the link that BJ just put up, if you go to like my channel and hit more, you go down, it'll say email address. My email address is down there as well. So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. If you guys have those experiences, hit up Dano for sure. He's got a great channel. And I know he'd love to have you on. So again, Dano, thank you so much. I really appreciated this. It was great. It was great. Tearing at some, pulling some heartstrings, and like Kel said, she was on the edge of her seat, and River saying, great show, Dano, you're a legend. You are.
I'm trying to get River on my show because I've seen River on a couple other podcasts, and I've reached out to him via the show, but not email. So now you have my email, River. You know what? I'll type it in the chat real quick.
Yeah. And River, you heard it. You heard it from him. So you got to go on his show. Dano's got a great show. He's got a great, just like my group of viewers and listeners. They are great. Dano's got a great crew.
Wouldn't let me do it.
Would it?
Yeah, it wouldn't let me do it.
Throw it in the private chat. I can do it.
Okay. Let's see if I can do this here. Yeah, I'll do this. Instead of typing it up. Let's
copy paste or something like that.
Yep, there it is.
Perfect. Okay. Give me 1 second as I am just getting this going here. Oh, crap. Nothing but issues here. There we go. Copy, and let's put this into the comments. Right on, everyone. So if you guys see, Dano's email is right there, the Cryptid Podcast 72@gmail.com. Send him an email. Let him know what experience you've had, and I know he'll be more than happy to have you on. Absolutely. All right, Dano. Thank you again so much, man. I really appreciated that. Just hold out in the green room then.
Sure, man. Bye, guys.
Well, everyone, there you have it. That was, like intense. Whoops, as I'm trying to fix my camera here. It was, along the lines of Fred Roll's experience. Matt from Planet 412, his Dogman experience. This was keeping you on the edge of your seat, but Dano didn't have just one. He had a plethora, a multitude of these experiences. So I wonder, and this is something I've talked about, is like it's like you're marked now. It's like they can see you or detect you a little bit more, and maybe that's why he's had so many experiences. Well, if like Dano said, if you guys have any experience and you want to hit him up, make sure you send him an email, let him know. And also, if you guys have any experiences as well and you want to hit me up, by all means, codexofcuriosities@gmail.com. More than happy to read your emails. Or if you just want to send me any of your experiences or any photos or videos, please, by all means, find me on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. And until the next time, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this show. Keep your curiosity wandering, keep the light lit, and always find your way home.
Beneath the stars where shadows grow, The Nephilim's echoes whisper low. Bigfoot roams through the forest deep, and Dogman prowls where the brave won't sleep. Across lost history we wonder why, seeking the truth that time tried to hide. Keep your curiosities wandering and the light lit. Through the darkness, don't ever quit. In the Codex, the mysteries come, and always find your way back home. UFOs streak through the velvet skies. Aliens watch with unblinking eyes. The paranormal hums where silence breaks. In the void of secrets, a lantern wakes. Through hidden realms and stories untold, the Codega flame is a light to hold. Keep your curiosities wandering and the light lit. Through the darkness, don't ever quit. In the Codex, the mysteries come, and always find your way back home. UFOs streak through the velvet skies. Aliens watch with unblinking eyes. The paranormal hums where silence breaks. In the void of secrets, a lantern wakes. Through hidden realms and stories untold, the Codex flame is a light to hold. Keep your curiosities wandering and the light lit. Through the darkness, don't ever quit. In the Codex, the mysteries come, and always find your way back home. Legends rise from the Earth's deep core, a lost legacy we can't ignore. With every step, the veil grows thin, revealing worlds where the strange begins. Keep your curiosities wandering and the light lit. Through the darkness, don't ever quit. In the Codex, the mysteries come, and always find your way back